Hey guys, it's Chris with Nichols Retirement Empire. I'm on the interstate at a dead stop, but I'm on my way home. I have been in up at my mom and dad's here for the last 3 or 4 days. I'm going to call it, the video is called The Perfect Storm, because it's a perfect storm what's going on right now with my dad. He is going through knee replacement surgery right now. He's had both shoulders, his hips, and then the other knee. This is his last knee. So he's 82 years old, and I advised him not to have the surgery because the older you get, the harder surgeries are. But he decided he wanted to have it, and so I went up, to the house to be there when he has it, help my mother out and all that. He goes and he has the surgery. Everything goes fine, okay? Doctor says everything went well. He's recovering. He's back in the room. It's an outpatient surgery. No problems. Everybody's happy. We get to the house, and he is resting. We thought we had everything ready to go, and to take care of him and all that. And I told Mama, I said, well, I'll make supper, and we'll give him a big meal, because he didn't eat lunch, he didn't eat breakfast and all that. He's down there, he's kind of knocked out. So I was making breakfast for supper, biscuits and all this stuff. And so I'm doing that, and he gets, it's about done. And he, wakes up. He's like, "Is that about done?" And I'm like, "Yeah. You probably need to." He goes, "Well, I want to come up there and eat." And I'm, okay, because they told him, it's okay for you to go up and down the stairs if you do it the right way, and we want you getting up and moving, and don't just sit in your chair. You got to get up and do stuff. And so, he wants to come upstairs and eat. And it's a split level house. We're getting him up the stairs. And he's like, "Well, I want to go to the bathroom. So take me up to," so we take, he goes up to the next level. I'm down there, and I'm like setting the plates and stuff, or fixing plates. And my mother, I hear her upstairs, and she goes, "Chris, you need to come up here." And so I come up there, and his leg was bleeding. Okay, so his skin's really thin. He has really bad skin. It bleeds really easy. And so they tried to do the thing where you have the stitches on the inside and then glue the whatever. But anyway, it was coming open. So, they got these socks on, all that stuff from surgery and all that, because the surgery had been that day. And so it's bleeding. Now, at this point, I'm going to stop explaining this, and I'm going to start explaining my dad. Because you've heard the term, and I'm going to be laughing through this, because you can either laugh about it or cry about it, and I'm not going to cry about it. That's the way I am. You've heard the term, like, they're a lot, Well, he's a lot, and I'm about to tell you what all the lot is. He very, kind of a neat freak, clean freak, kind of obsessive almost, to the point, like our house is never dirty, never dusty. Stuff's not out of place. His garage is not out of place. His garage floor is painted. All the stuff in the garage is not dusty. The cars are clean. The cars are not dirty. There's never anything in the floor, never anything. Now, I'm not talking about a bunch of really nice fancy stuff. I'm just talking about just plain everyday ordinary things. But he keeps them clean. His yard mowed all the time. No, he just likes things to be, like this. Like I said, almost to an obsessive kind of thing. And then he also is the kind of person that you would think he grew up. He didn't grow up during the Depression. He wasn't born until after the Depression was over. But you would think he had lived through 4 depressions, because he is so concerned with wasting things or using things up, or you can't waste anything, nothing, absolutely nothing. If you buy something, it is if you buy a rake, that rake should last a lifetime. If you buy a mattress, that mattress should last a lifetime. Everything he get, like he won't spend money on anything. He'll fix it if he can fix it. Just one of those people. Okay, yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. So he is the extreme. But also, let's just go ahead and just lay it out. Let's lay it out all on the line. If I could think of all of it right now. He can't hear very well. And he's got hearing aids, but he still can't hear very well. He has a really hard time paying attention, period. Like he gets really focused on something and he's going to do that or think that. And that's, he never stops talking. He just talks, which means he repeats the same stuff over and over again because there's only so many things you can talk about. So he just repeats the things that he says. And he's, early onset, not, maybe dementia. It's not Alzheimer's, I don't think, but starting to have some cognitive things. Balance stuff. He's got problems with his balance. He's got little issues with that. It's hard to explain until you have actually witnessed and seen it in action. So here he is. This is the way he is. And this stuff starts happening. And it was just a perfect storm. He's up there. He's, it starts bleeding. So he's like, well, so now he starts thinking about what you need to do. And the first thing, obviously, is the blood. We need to stop the bleeding. Well, he's got this stuff called Bleed Stop that he uses all the time. And it's kind of like the stuff that you use, like when you cut yourself shaving. It's like that powder kind of stuff. And it works. It'll stop you from bleeding. If you put enough on it, it'll stop anything from bleeding. So he wants to use the Bleed Stop. We want to stop this bleeding. We don't want to take all the stuff because I don't know whether we need to take these bandages off and all this kind of thing because it's the day of the surgery. So Mama helps him. He gets down the stairs and he's like, sit me down. And he was in a lot of pain, okay? And he's, was demonstrably in pain, it hurts, the way a person would do that's in a lot of pain. Now, another thing, and I left this out. Left this out about my dad. He didn't take pain very well, and it's hard to tell really if he is in pain because he'll do stuff like if you're at a fast food place, you'll be sitting there eating your hamburger and you'll hear him go, and you're, what is it? I can't get my ketchup pack open. Why are you acting like you're hurting? He'll do stuff like that. He'll do stuff like you're riding down the road, and there might be a bump in the road, and he'll be like, and you'll think, oh my God, is your back okay? Are you hurt? And it's like, well, no, that's going to knock the tires out of alignment. Yeah, well, you're not hurt. Yeah. So anyway, it's hard to tell with him. And I left this out too. He really likes to kid around and make jokes and stuff like that. And sometimes it's hard to tell when he's doing that. Okay, so he's kind of hard to read sometimes. But anyway, so he's in pain, which that makes sense. I understand why he would be in pain. So he said, let me sit me down. Well, I had gotten the food ready and I had his plate ready. So we didn't think about it because, it's an emergency situation. We're worried about his bleeding and all this. And we made the mistake of sitting him at the table. So in his mind, when he thinks of something, you've got to, when he gets it in his head that he's going to do that, he is going to do that. Well, this was it's like having a dog and doing 6 dog whistles all around, and the dog going, which way do which whistle? That's the way he was. He had the blood in the floor, which was an emergency because you can't have a dirty floor. There's blood on the wood floor, So that was the dog whistle for him. And then you had my legs bleeding. Oh my God, we gotta get this stopped. That's a dog whistle for him. And then you got, supper's ready. and you got to eat it because you can't throw anything away. There's no, you can't waste it. You don't need to let it get cold. So that's a dog whistle. I got to eat this food. All this stuff is happening at the same time, and my mother is trying to get the bleed stop, and it's like in a box, okay. And you take it, and you put the powder, and you kind of just basically pile it on there. And, well, the powder's getting in the floor, so now you got something else in the floor that's messing the floor up. So now that's more. Oh my God, we gotta take care of this. And some of the powder's not getting on the wound, so it's being wasted. It's just like, oh God, we're wasting this stuff costs whatever for the box and all this. And so then the part of him kicks in that like he likes to do things his way. He wants them done his way. He's very focused on doing it the way he wants to do it. And so he starts trying to tell my mother, and my mom is the most laid back person ever on the history of the planet. And it's not like that he's not trying to tell her what to do. It's not like he's trying to control her. It's that he wants it done the way he's thinking, So it's not about him telling her what to do. And she just kind of ignored, does whatever. Like I said, she's super laid back. She's okay, Bernard, and does, whatever. So anyway, he starts, now, you need to take, and in the middle, and don't forget, the whole time this is all going on, it's the constant, he's constantly talking and constantly, moaning and pain and all this kind of stuff. So this is all going on at the same time. You're hearing all this. And he's like, now what I usually do is I get like a, like a little piece of cardboard, like a cereal box cardboard or something like that. And then I take it and I fold it. And then I take, and I put that bleed stop in there, and then I take it and make it like a little V, and then I put it directly on, where you need it, because he uses it all the time, because he's all the time cutting himself and scratching himself because of his skin, and he bleeds easy. And that way you don't, it's not getting all over the place. And of course he says this about 17 times in the space of 10 minutes. Even when we were through doing it, he would go back and explain it again, and so he's really super worried about wasting the money on the bleed stop and getting the bleed stop in the floor and then the blood in the floor. So he's sitting here at the table. Now, here's my dad in a nutshell. This is the perfect picture, and this is the best I can do. He's sitting there at the table, and he's got hold of the table, and he's that knee, and my knee, and he's doing all this, and he's like, Chris, y'all get me a towel so I can put it under my foot, because he's worried about the blood getting in the floor. I'll put it under that foot. That way we're not getting the blood. Of course, there's a track of blood all the way up to the second floor bathroom, down the steps and all. But it's all wood, so it's not that big a deal. It'll be easy to clean up. And so he gets a paper towel, like a paper towel off the table, and he's like putting it down on the floor, and I'm like, what is he doing? He puts it down on the floor under his other foot. And so I look down there, and he's got his other foot, and he's like keeps moving it around. I'm like, why can't he be still? And he's trying to wipe up the blood with his other foot with the paper towel. So he's trying to clean that up, and then he's got the stuff he's worried about with his leg, and he's in pain. He's and then right in the middle of all this is going on, he's like, Virginia, Virginia, can you give me a fork? Because supper was sitting there on the table, and he wanted a fork. He was worried about getting a fork so he could go ahead and eat, even though he's doing all this stuff. He's doing all this stuff at once. I bet his brain was about to explode, because he just everything was an emergency. Everything was something I got to do right now. And somehow his brain was trying to focus on every little thing. And I mean, he is something else now. He'll get these things in his brain. I mean, he will latch onto this stuff. Like he eats. Okay, we finish eating, and we got the blood basically stopped, and we called my sister. My sister's a nurse, and her daughter's a nurse, and they were going to come over and look at it and kind of clean it up. And so anyway, we get him down there, we get him in his chair, And he's just, still the same thing, trying to get him settled, trying to get him. And in the middle of all this, while all this is going on, he's trying to get back here, and then we don't want to get the blood in the chair. And I'm sure he's still worried about the stuff upstairs. Even though I was going to clean all that up, he shouldn't need to worry about it. That's why I'm here, And he's getting in that chair, and he's like, Virginia, when you get a minute, my mouth is so dry. Could you give me some? And then a couple seconds later, he's like, Virginia, I know. Can you shut that closet door? Closet door. Why are you? I understand the water. Why are you worried about the closet door? To him, it's a big deal. He's focusing all this stuff. We get to the doctor's office, okay, and then it becomes, and this wasn't anything new. This is how it's been. But we get to the doctor's office, and we get him in there on a wheelchair, because there was a wheelchair down in the lobby. And we pull him in there, and we got a plastic bag wrapped around his leg and tied and taped at the top because there's blood. We didn't want to get blood all in the car and everything. And and while we're trying to get the plastic bag on, put that tape, put it right here, and then take that, and you wrap it around and then put the he's trying to tell you how to tape a plastic bag to his leg. And before that, he'd wanted a towel under his leg, and Mama had come out, and she had this towel, and she's folding it. I said, no, fold it this way, and then roll it like this. He's like telling you you're like, my God, Daddy, just let her roll the towel up, And so, anyway, we got this thing on his leg. We wheel him into the waiting room in the doctor's office, and of course they got us out of there immediately, because you got this guy with a garbage sack around his leg with blood. They get us back to this room. They can't get it to really stop bleeding, and again, it wasn't bleeding like crazy. It's just a little oozing, the blood, and they couldn't get it to stop. So the doctor's like, I tell you what, we're just gonna put you in the hospital tonight. In the morning, I'm gonna redo this incision. I'm gonna staple it this time instead of trying to, and we'll get this fixed, and then we're gonna keep you in the hospital for a few days. And which is what we wanted, because I know even with me there, even if it had been me, my sister, and my mom, if it had been 3 people, it would have been too much to do. And it just blows my mind, that there are people out there that are having the caretakers that are like my mother's age, trying to take care of somebody like my dad, or even bigger, or even in full-blown dementia. It's just, those people really go through a lot. And I've been through it with, we did with Tammy's mother, taking care of her and watching after her and going to all her surgeries and all of her. And Tammy has had, it is no lie, Tammy's had like 16 surgeries for different things, because with the cancer and other things that have happened because of the chemo and all that. And so I have taken care of people. I've cooked for them, I've cleaned for them, I've physically had to get them around and help them, get to their therapy and do their therapy and take them to the doctor and take them here and do all this stuff with her and her mother, especially if they start going through Alzheimer's and dementia. You just about can't, because you're worried about them setting the house on fire. You're worried about them wandering off somewhere, or getting in the car, or you have to really, really be able to watch them. And some of them have to be in these places to keep them from hurting themselves or hurting other people. And so, I've been through all of this, but my dad poses a unique set. I mean, like, he gets in there with the nurses and stuff and the doctors, and they'll ask him a question, and he's trying to joke around and trying to be funny. Plus he can't hear, plus he can't halfway pay attention, or he don't try to pay attention, he don't try to listen. And it'll be stuff like, here's one of the nurse comes in there, and she's like, Mr. Nichols, are you in pain? Are you in pain? And he'll say, who? And you don't know if he really can't hear, or if it, if he's trying to make a joke. Mr. Nichols, are you in pain? He's like, pinto beans. No, I don't, you know. And she's like, no, are you in pain? Oh. And you're sitting here going, does he really think she said pinto beans? You know, because he's something else now. And then he'll, oh no, I'm just kidding. You're doing a good job. I'm just trying to give you a hard time. You know, sometimes he'll do that. Sometimes he'll, you know, he's just trying to kid around with him and stuff. And the doctors, good night. When they try to get information from him, it's like, I mean, you've heard the expression trying to pull teeth. I mean, it's like trying to pull every tooth in your head out. It's okay, tell me about, you know, what's going on. Well, that's the worst question you could possibly ask him, because this can go any direction, because he's got a lot of ailments, you know. And it could be like, well, you know, I had that heart surgery 2 years ago, and every time I get out in the yard, you know, and then I get that, you know, I've got vertigo, and that's it. No, we're here about your leg. Tell me about your leg. Oh. Well, you know, you did that other knee, and it never really has done right. And he starts talking, and he just starts going in some kind of crazy direction, and the doctors are just sitting there going, yeah. And, you know, I'm sitting here, and a nurse will come in, and I'm like, here we go. What direction is this one going to go? And those people earn their money with him. I can tell you that right now. And but that's part of it. That's part of it when you got a parent and they're starting getting older and they're having to do all this stuff, and they got all these physical things that's going on, and whatever kind of personality thing, you know, it doesn't disappear when they get older, and it gets they're not going to stop being them. So now you got somebody that's older. They might have some cognitive things, plus they got all their personality things that are working themselves out. But anyway, they're keeping him in the hospital for a few days, and then hopefully we'll be able to get him into rehab, where he goes into the rehab, so that my mother doesn't have to worry so much about the things that she's got to do. Because even if I'm there, she's still going to be involved, and she still wants to do this and do that. And if they got him in a rehab for a few days, I think that'll help him get better faster, and it'll help her out, and then I can be there, or my sister, you know, to help out. So anyway, luckily we got that going on. But you guys remember him in your prayers and things like that. And we thank you for watching Nichols Retirement Empire. Y'all take it easy, but I'm headed to the house.